Hey everybody, it's Bust with Battles with Bust number 282, and today we're doing battle with Viktor Riven. And so, exciting times out there in the world. I'm sure everyone watched the AFC Championship game last night in the worlds of American football. You got to see the world's greatest team, the Kansas City Chiefs, take victory over the Cincinnati Bengals. So we'll be cruising on to the Super Bowl. Very exciting, very exciting time to be out here in Kansas City. But if you're not familiar with the Chiefs, their colors are the red and gold. I felt like to pay tribute to the Chiefs, we should probably also play a little bit of red and gold out here today. And that brings us to Viktor Riven. And so, Viktor Riven, it's kind of an interesting deck. I loved these archetypes back in the days of Expedition. Just seeing what you could do with Reforge, and there were just like so many opportunities in a limited format to take advantage of this, whether or not you are playing discard strategies, as we're kind of seeing here today, or if you're using it to power off Augment, or trying to use quick attack challengers, or just using it as a general value card, or whatever. There's just like tons and tons and tons of ways to take advantage of this. Like you start looking at all these cards and you're like, oh, wow, this does work really nicely with something like Zoe, right? That's not even an archetype that you're going to be looking to play with in Constructed, but those were always the kind of things that would give you that edge in Expedition and in limited formats, as to where you're able to craft this kind of off-the-wall deck that had a lot of synergies in it that weren't, really Constructed playable, but were going to be quite strong in that draft format. And so, if you weren't playing Expedition, if you weren't familiar with these themes at the time, the thing that you would most likely kind of similarize this deck with, if you will, would be something like Discard Draven. But if Discard Draven is ultimately a very aggressively oriented deck, this is more of a mid-rangey OTK style of deck. And so to kind of go over some of the combos that run around within this deck, there is the kind of minor Reforge package, if you will. We're not playing all of the Reforge cards. We're not playing Weapon Hilts. We're not playing the 3/1 2-cost unit. Just the Blade Squire, the Rune Squire, and Riven. But they do give us a nice value package. If you can trade off the Blade Squire and get a Reforge, then you've won a little bit of card advantage. Same deal with the Rune Squire, to where it can also trade up with the +2 attack fragment, or potentially get a quick attack challenge, and then of course Riven here on her own. But for the most part, these are here to fuel other things, right? We do have the augment package in the deck between the Ballistic Bot and the Nyandroid. So if we're playing off the fragments, it will help level up our augment cards. Or we can potentially look to discard them to something like Get Excited or Rummage or Poro Cannon to just continue on generating that value. And so that is the majority of the early game package. We're looking to get value generation out of our Blade Squires and out of our Ballistic Bots. But as we kind of move into the mid game, this switches from a kind of value deck into being more of an OTK-centric deck. And so a lot of the games we're going to be able to just make Riven have 10 attack and then hit her with the Ruined Reckoner. Or we're going to have Viktor get up to 4 and 5 enhancements, if you will, and then have him really strengthen up with the Reforged cards, let him potentially attack while he's a bit vulnerable, or close out the game with the Ruined Reckoner. As you're going to hear that theme quite frequently, as we also have cards like the Nyandroid, which can get to 6 and 7 and 8 attack pretty handily with all of our Reforge and Ballistic Bots and card generation, and then we can attack twice with the Ruined Reckoner. And so it's a pretty powerful set of synergies, and this is what we're going to be doing battle with today. And so let's go ahead and jump on in, see what we can do, hit up that ranked queue, see if we can't jump ourselves into Masters here pretty quickly. We'll get this account there in no time. I'm curious as to what's going to be happening in the upcoming days. I feel like the day this video was released on Tuesday, I think Tuesday's the 31st of January, there should be a patch notes, but Riot did kind of run into issues with getting hacked or something, and so the patches are a little bit out of order and off key. But there's, if not at least patch notes, there should be some kind of announcement, at least in terms of the competitive roadmap. I do believe that's something that's supposed to be coming up here in the next few days. So all in all, generally Exciting times. And so with our opener here, we are up against Callista Hecarim. It looks like some kind of Ephemerals deck. If they had Zed in here, right? If this was a Zed deck, then I would 100% hang on to the Mystic Shot. But without Zed being here, I think we can go ahead and just get rid of it. Then we have this pretty reasonable curve in the early game, starting off with the Urchin, discarding the Fallen Rider, drawing a fresh card, then having access to this big 4-attack unit on the second turn. Don't think we're going to want a Rune Squire. It was kind of an interesting and nice draw, but it's tough for opponent to play like relevant 3-attack units here, right? There is the 3/2 support unit that makes something ephemeral, but outside of it, these ephemeral decks aren't going to have anything on the second turn that can get in front of a Risen Rider. Yeah, he should be pretty relevant the rest of the way, as he's able to combat with Callistas and survive and such. And so we have high hopes for you, Risen Rider. We used to fight with you so valiantly with our Draven Scion decks, and you just haven't been seeing too much play in this current format. We did lose to you in seasonals, and so maybe that's appropriate. That's what we get for leaving the Fallen Rider at home. That was fun. I had a good time with seasonals. Ultimately, wasn't too successful win rate wise, but I finally kind of got back into that competitive mode and that competitive grind feeling that I certainly lost when the Seraphine meta was at its height, and so I felt like that was a win all on its own. I was really in the dumpster during that period of the meta, and now that we've gotten to move on from it, I've really got that competitive itch to scratch again. All right, let's see what opponent's going to do, though. Bringing in the Shark Chariot. I'd like to just come out and get in front of this stuff. We don't currently have any good blockers. I'm fine to throw away the Zonite Urchin here, but I think we want to just go ahead and drop in a Riven. You could put Riven in front of the Redeemed Prodigy, block the Shark Chariot with the Urchin, only take 2 for the turn, and still have a pretty competitive board. So in my testing, one of the exciting things I came across was actually the survival skills. The thing you have to stop and like ask yourself against, well, with any deck you're going to be playing these days is how does it handle that Katarina Opulent Foyer deck? It's just such a relevant part of the meta that has such a kind of snowbally and oddbally way of achieving victory that if you aren't like actively thinking about it and working towards it, it'll just come out and crush you. And the survival skills was kind of interesting in that having this way to have that unkillable unit that can just block the big foyer unit over and over again. If they want to rally 2 and 3 times in a turn and you just drop the survival skills, I think it's kind of interesting having that as a defensive measure against the Katarina deck, but then still a reasonably powerful way to protect your Victors and protect your Rivens. Alright, so opponent's out here doing stuff. I'm glad we got our open attack in before the Unleashed Spirit came down. I just didn't feel like Viktor was going to add enough to the board, so we should just go for this 7-hit first and be a little defensive with him. And now we're starting to look fairly strong out here. Playing a bunch of cards we don't care about. Could drop the survival skills if we wanted to, but I feel like that one's probably a little greedy. My android can block, though. I believe in you, friend. And a Callista. Do we want... Okay, we don't have the right fragment. I wanted to stop and say, like, well, do we want to play the 2-attack fragment before he attacks so we could potentially block a Callista? But we don't have it. Sad day for our hand. The band is coming at us, my dudes. And so we could add the Rune Squire, but I feel like we're probably just a little bit better off Death Raying something. If we play the Squire, it's just 100% going to die, as to where we could probably get some good usage out of it next turn. So with this attack, Callista is going to flip. Maybe we would prefer to just Death Ray Callista. I think I'm okay with that. We're only taking 7 here. We're not really at risk of dying. We should be able to get a kill next turn. Yeah, looks good. Fall to 11 after this. Then we may look at open attacking next turn. We'll have to see if we pick up like a cheap discard card so we could protect our Riven or protect our Viktor, but I suspect we're gonna like weapon hilt and fragment and see if we can't win through that way. Don't really want to get in the space to where we're going in this next turn and he has the chance to cast a bunch of spells. So see if we can't win it right here, right now. Let's see. We got this weapon hilt. Let's just start loading up. I should probably just load up Viktor, but I think it'll be okay. Let's see. Quick attack. Put that on Riven. +2 attack. Just giving up on it. This is one of these spaces to where if I had a little bit more experience with the deck, I could be a little bit more confident in how we wanted to approach that attack. At the end of the day, we were going to want 7 attack on our elusive, just in case he fucks with our ground units, then we can still kill with the unblockable unit. And then an additional 7 damage coming through between Viktor and Riven and attacking through that 4 health unit. So I think we could have figured it out if we would have tried to piece the puzzle together. But yeah, man, speaking of football, I didn't get the chance to talk about it, but I did my all-star move. As you get older and you go to a football event, you're expected to, bring something. You have to bring treats for the people. You bring beers, you bring foods or whatnot. And I did the caprese skewers this time. Love it. If you're not familiar with the caprese skewers, this is a very easy dish that you can make. You go and you buy some mozzarella that's already cut up into the little spheres, and then you get some basil. You put that shit, and then you get some tomatoes, and you just take all 3 components, put it on a toothpick, and you're good to go. You're ready to serve, ready to impress all of your friends and family. And mine was pretty choice this year, and so where this is going is number 1, I got all my hydro going. All my hydroponics are up and running, and so I had a ton of my sweet ass basil to attach to the dish. It was pretty good, but my wife doesn't enjoy tomatoes for some reason, and so she recommended doing strawberries as well. So I can tell you now, if you want to enhance the dish, that was pretty good. But the thing where this was really going, the places where I felt like this was really going to enhance your life is, life, as I like to say in relationships, is all about communication. You have to be able to tell someone how you think and how you feel. You can't just push it all down. You can't bottle it all up inside. You got to use those words. You gotta express a feeling. And I can tell you, regardless of how you feel about this statement, is this thing will definitely get some communication flowing. And so the typical thing that the internet recommends you pair off with the caprese skewers is that you should get a balsamic vinegar reduction. And now, if you're not familiar with how you make one of these, is you get a bottle of balsamic vinegar, you pour it into a pot, a cooking vessel, and then you just boil it for a while. And so the way you can really get the communication in your life flowing is when your wife or your husband or your significant other, your roommate, whoever comes home, and you're just boiling a pot of vinegar. I'll tell you, number 1, your living place, your living establishment is going to smell like vinegar for probably 3 days. And if you were worried about not having enough communication in your relationship, you're certainly about to get a couple of notes on a couple of notes on communication, a couple of highlights that your significant other will probably let you know about. And I knew better this time. I made this mistake before. I did this in the past, to where I thought it was a good idea to boil up a pot of vinegar. I've since learned the lesson. I didn't do it this time. But if you're ever seeing that recipe and curious, you know, do as you will, do as you would like. Boil that vinegar up and see if the reduction really enhances your caprese skewers. Oof. Alright, this game's going pretty decent, though. He had one of these really awkward Aatrox game draws where they don't have any units, and we should be able to just punch through with our Nyandroids at this point. And so he did pick up the Aatrox, but now he's played Forsaken Bakai, so he's not going to put the Aatrox on board. Looks like he's trying to line up a Kayn here now, which is fine, but we're just going to go with the elusive plan. We got the Nyandroids, we got the Poro Cannons in hand. If he wants to try and get a hook onto Viktor, then we have the survival skills to protect. I think everything here is going to go A-OK. We probably just pass right there. I assume he's going to be attacking. He has to start having something go right. But, I mean, wow, that... maybe we should have just started playing stuff. It's not the safest place for his units here. Like, we're just going to gain a ton of health back off of our life-stealing Viktor. I might as well go ahead and take the trade on the Bakai, right? Our Risen Rider's just going to get blocked next turn anyways. Okay. So now we can play, like, Double Daring Poro. We can put the Fish Whack onto Viktor. And I feel like this is going to end things handily. All right. SNB Pickle R. Pickle Rick out here. He probably knows about caprese skewers. He says, I know better. I ain't boiling up any vinegar in my house. See if that does it for us. Gonna have a strike card. Nope. Alright, GG. I communicated well with you, Pickle Rick. I did not boil the vinegar. And I brought the lethal handily. Said a GG right at the end. Communicating like a pro. Ooh. It was a hit. Everybody loved it. They said, God, Bust, your hydroponic basils are so good. It's one of these things that comes about when you get old. You have a $5 problem that you try to fix with $100. I've got a hydroponic set up in my basement. I'm growing a bunch of basil and a bunch of lettuce and kale. And then I'm starting to do tomatoes now, and then a bunch of cilantro. And my problem was I would go to get a recipe, you go to make a dinner, and then you look at it and it's like, get some fresh basil, and you're like, all right, I can do that. And you got to go to the grocery and pay like $5 for a couple of sprigs of some brown ass stuff. And I got tired of doing that. And so why pay $5 for a bunch of brown ass basil when you can get like a $200 hydroponic setup in your basement and never have to spend that $5 again. It's been pretty sweet. All right, the ephemerals are everywhere today. On with the Irelia Gwen for this battle. Not a particularly strong hand for us this round. Like, I'm I'm really leaning towards we're gonna have to like Poro Cannon out of survival skills and drop the dudes just to have something to do. Interesting. It's just like this is so bad now. If like we pass and then he has like doesn't have a unit, like I don't like it. Let's get the Poros down. Ugh. Make a sad noise with me. Riven's kind of cool though. We do need to, like, at least from like a strategy standpoint, we need to start being the aggressor here. He's going to get that infinite value coming out of the Black Flame. Like if he starts to blade dance and get those multiple attacks in, we're really gonna struggle. And so I'd like to get Riven down, really try and kick up the aggression, see if we can't end this game on our next attack token. Yep, see, this shit starts, right? I'm not really excited about running into this stuff. But this is kind of one of these spaces, though, as to where when we talked about the Katarina deck and having access to survival skills and potentially shutting down a lot of what she's capable of doing, we have some real potential to just get a giant shutdown this next turn with survival skills. If he, say, like, plays Irelia and then wants to blade dance and then attack with Irelia and get all that stuff going. Like just dropping the survival skills carries a lot of weight. I would rather, I don't even know if I'd rather discard it at this point. If we get to stop like 3 attacks, like he does get to generate a ton of units, and so having the width of the survival skills is kind of interesting. So how we feel about that? Do we want to go for it this turn, or do we feel okay just waiting a little bit? It's like if we wait a little bit, we're probably just never going to do it, right? But I think he really struggles to lethal us this round. I think this is, I guess, the big point, is like if this was a +2 attack fragment, and we could say next turn +2 attack a Poro, open attack for like 9 and then re-attack with the Ruined Reckoner, maybe that would be a thing, but we probably just got to get Viktor on board so we have some dudes. Okay. And lifesteal. This is the way the pros do it, right? You just drop your Viktor and hit the lifesteal, everything's a-okay. Fury's not terrible. It does let him kind of freely block the blades. Take us to 4. I think I want to just go for a fragment at this point. Like we all... Oh, we don't have quick... We have quick attack. We don't have overwhelm. I think this is okay. There's the +2 attack. Try and take away his blocker now, and then see if we can't get a kill with the Ruined Reckoner next turn. Would have been a lot easier if we had an Overwhelm fragment, right? It's much less dangerous if we're attacking with the Overwhelm. Oh shit, we do have Overwhelm. Planned it that way. I'm not doing the math. I can't quite just... Like, I think going onto Viktor is more damage here, right? Because we're going to load onto Viktor and then just open, as opposed to trying to get a 10 attack Riven and attacking with her twice. I don't want to give the opponent the opportunity to start like blade dancing here. So let's just go ahead and send in the big attack. Looks like it was enough for lethal. I handled those mathematics. GG. Not bad, not bad. Achieving victory just like those Kansas City Chiefs. Whew. I'm scared, man. The Super Bowl's not going to go well. It's not going to go well. Like I tried to think of a way to kind of describe Patrick Mahomes in Legends of Runeterra terms, and I think the way I kind of came about it is he's like playing Aatrox, but you can't cast the World Ender. It is the kind of space that Patrick Mahomes is in right now. He has a high ankle sprain, and a lot of his capabilities and superpowers involve him like running around and running away from defenders. And he is quite capable of just standing there and passing the ball. He's one of the best in the league at doing that thing still. But when you kind of take away his mobility aspect, it really limits the Chiefs' offense. And I feel like the Aatrox was kind of on point in terms of Aatrox is still exceptionally good. Getting to draw him for free and have the strike flip and all of the heal and everything tied together. That's a pretty reasonable set of skills. But when you take away the World Ender, it does certainly hamstring him quite a bit. And so with Patrick Mahomes being hurt and like 3 wide receivers got hurt last night, I feel like Manny Pacheco, the running back, got hurt as well. Got 2 weeks to heal, but it's still pretty scary. All right, though. Let's see what old Katarina's up to here. I wanted to go for the Risen Rider. It's like if he doesn't have the 3-1, then this is so good, right? If he either has a no play, if he has a Vile Feast, if he has the 2/2 that summons other Halloweds, then the Risen Rider is going to look pretty good. Looks like we'll get the attack in here. And seems like we're probably just going to be going on the burn plan with the ballistic bots. Our hand doesn't really do anything else, and so might be just throwing a bunch of ignitions to the face, but that's not what we really want to be doing. It's a little slow.
To serve the greater good.
Gonna add the Blade Squire. It's like maybe we should have just gone ahead for the Zonite Urchin. Like he's clearly going to attack, and I'm not quite ready to give up the Risen Rider.
Carry your own gear.
He should have like one more turn to be good. Let's see if opponent's got a big boy ready to block, or he's gonna drop a Gwen or something. These ballistic bots ready to party though. they got a nice collection of stats out here. Alright, well, I think this is probably the time we're gonna just drop the survival skills. I mean, I don't know, man. That's real close. I would like to have that survival skills next turn. Like, if he has a... I guess Katarina's not that scary, but if he has a Shunpo, now that he's got the Foyer, it is kind of scary. That's tough. Evolve or die, bro. But we gotta just start slamming stuff in here. We need to start getting the upper hand on this board. We're never winning a late game, right? And that's why this matchup can be a bit of a struggle for Viktor. You need a lot of these games where you play Viktor and then you upgrade, and then you try to OTK with a Ruined Reckoner or something. We just don't have the time to do that shit against Katarina. And so I think we need to start punching this aggression in and trying to end this game quickly. Thinking about flocking our ballistic bot. That's okay. We do have him fairly well ground down. He's only got 3 cards at this point. Feel a lot better if we had a Mystic Shot or Get Excited, try and contest to Katarina, but I think we're okay at this point. The Quietus, sure.
With utmost efficiency.
My goodness, what is all this?
The Midnight Rebel, and so we begin.
I wonder if he ever attacks with Gwen. Let's shut this down. I don't. I guess the survival skills would have landed on our on our Risen Rider. But okay, whatever. All right, Viktor and friends. Let's see what we can do. We're still a little bit short of the lethal, but if we pick up a way to overwhelm next turn or attack twice with Viktor, we might be able to steal something.
Once I stamp papers, now faces. Our goals are greater than petty violence.
All right, well, we're just gonna play all the cards. Nothing else to do here. Ooh, quick attack, not bad. Viktor's gonna flip on this attack as well. We'll drop both of the Poros on the board. Should be pretty tough for him to interact with the Viktor. The question is, do we want to attack with the Ballistic Bot? And that seems a little greedy. It's like we can get the Ballistic Bot up to 3 attack and then try and Death Ray down the Gwen if he blocks it. It's going to come down to how close to lethal we are here. Maybe we do. It's only 10 damage from Viktor, but like he's really incentivized to block the Viktor here. I feel like we're just leaving damage on the table if we don't attack with the Ballistic Bot. And then if he does block the Ballistic Bot and we only deal 10 damage, we're like 2 damage away from lethal. So any of our burn spells would then close out the game as well. All right. You're not a burn spell. I did the mathematics on that one, Fallen Rider. You don't have the burn-in capabilities. All right, lifesteal. Here goes. We got it right.
I shall need my tools.
All right, big ol' attack coming in with these. Is this the way we have to do it? I would really like to... Man, that's so close. It's like I would really like to have both of our Poros for next turn, but the thing that's scary for us now is if he has a Might. And so I don't want to like preemptively Death Ray something and then have him Might the other 1 health unit. So I think we're just going to have to count on Viktor here to do something.
No matter their resolve.
Now, the way that this is going to be painful is if he has the rally. If he has a Shunpo right now or whatever, then we're going to fall to the Gwen. But let's wait and see. We can still play a unit. So if it comes to playing a unit, we can throw it down in front of Gwen and then Death Ray the Foyer token. Alright, what you got for us, Viktor? Elusive? Like a fucking boss. And so it's tough now. I feel a little bit better that we picked up Rune Squire, so I'm going to go for the Hex Core upgrade. It's like if opponent has a stun, then we really miss out on the Viktor getting to deal his damage. But on the same vein, if opponent has a Vile Feast, then we also are short on lethal. And so I think at the end of the day, I would prefer to just like risk our Viktor dying and having the additional options back here, as opposed to making an attack and then just having the game fail.
Please make yourself right at home.
All right, we should be good now, though. We're just going to hook this 3/6 out of combat. Viktor should be enough on his own. We also have some damage coming from that Fallen Rider. All right. Not bad. GG. You know what we're doing out here? We're marking that a W for bust. Climbing on up. Almost hitting that master's rank. I feel like I had another amazing anecdote that I forgot. Like I intended to make a video on Friday and talk about the caprese skewers and the boiling vinegar and stuff, and I feel like I had another one for that day, and then I got tied up in some other stuff and didn't get the chance to make the video. I feel like it's not only a loss for me, it's a loss for you. It's a loss for everyone, and so kind of a bummer. Maybe it'll come to me, I don't know. I can tell you now, I smell like fucking vinegar right now. I had a little caprese skewer snack and spilled a little bit. A little bit of a whoopsies, it happens. So up against Rise, I just want units. We need to get stuff on the board and get to attacking. Not too much ground-based targets coming out of the opposing deck to try and Mystic Shot with. So I'm fine to discard the Get Excited. Probably be discarding the Mystic Shot here as well. Just such a high percentage chance he comes in and passes on the turn that I want our ground-based units just slamming.
Rain from a cloudless
Sure.
sky. Spring does not pity winter.
This is a matchup to where the Ballistic Bot has the opportunity to go nutsos, and so we'll see if the Ignitions can't do something big here. We want to just discard them. What you got? Spell mana? We'll see. We'll see if we want to just discard the Ignition and get the Poros going this round. What you got? Quick attack.
What right do I have to use a world rune?
Alright, so we've got to ignore that guy, I guess. So let's discard the quick attack. Then we'll look to hook the Rise with the Rune Squire, hit with our bot, the Squire, the Urchin, and then the two Poros. Coming at him. Not a bad set of damages. Ooh, Steel Tempest. Oh, he's playing Ionia. It's like I just assume every spell is like a burst spell that can't target, and not quite the case. That's okay. Gonna look to get rid of the survival skills here. We'll cycle it away with the Urchin. See where we can come up to with the next round. These Rise cards are so bad. I saw that that Mage and Bay did go and play Rise in seasonals, and so he was not successful. He he did not achieve any wins before dropping out of the event, but he had the opportunity for greatness, the biggest plays of the world, cycling through the Rise. And do we even need to bother open attacking here? I mean, I guess we don't get too much value out of just playing the Ignition.
Anything helps.
Oh, is this a Spirit Fire? Oh shit. Well, that's not good.
Subtlety.
I guess that was something to worry about. So all of our stuff's gonna die. We still get to drop the Ignition. Can we kill with the Ruined Reckoner? Looks like we're gonna be a little bit short. How does survival skills work with this dumb card? It deals damage at the end of the turn, right? So our units should not fall below 1 health. I'm pretty sure that's how this works. Learning moment. Aight, our units didn't die. Cool. Cool. I was expecting the worst out of that one. So we should have a +2 attack fragment on the top of our deck, right? If we're gonna Rune Squire. but we're 1 mana short of doing all the good stuff here. So it's like we can play the Rune Squire, the Reckoner, but then we can't get the Overwhelms and everything going with it.
No more mud for me. No way.
Overwhelm. Okay. Well, I'm glad we weren't counting on the +2 attack. I haven't been tracking the fragments this game, so.
Your final lesson.
What's this one? 2 to the weakest enemy. Okay.
I must fight for Runeterra.
Look at that. Rise getting his spell shield. He's doing all the Rise stuff. Man. I'm getting scared. I'm getting scared, fam. He's got 4 world runes. Oh my goodness. Doesn't even have to block our ruined reckoner here. Oh shit, he's attacking with Rise? What's that do? Does that activate his things? I'll be honest with you, I'm not real familiar with what Rise even does. I'll shoot it to you straight. Not familiar with what this card actually does.
Is that all you got?
We're losing our Urchin in the back line. Kind of meh. Let's see if he blocks. Oh, that's gonna do it. GG. Victory applied to Rise. Now, granted, I'll tell you how I feel about that. It had absolutely nothing to do with Rise and everything to do with the Spirit Fire. Now, let me design a deck for you, okay? You play Freylord and play Avalanche. That Avalanche would have just won that game there. I had no other interaction with the remainder of the deck. It was just the deck's capability of having an AoE, and so I guess if you're playing Rise, you got to take your victories where you can get them. But I don't feel like that was really too much tied to the power of Rise himself. All right, so much Shadow Isles Ionia today. Everybody loves these guys. But man, this gets me to think back to even back in the Seraphine meta. The thing I used to say so much was the chess reference, if you will, as to where I think chess is great. I don't have a problem with chess at all, but I use this idea of the type of person that really gets a lot of joy out of playing something like Anivia Harrowing, to where you just fuck around with your 25 removal spells until it gets to turn 18, and then you can hopefully win the game at that point. And that someone that just wants to play chess by themselves, because no one else in the world is good enough to beat them at chess or to battle them at chess. And so, you got your friends hanging out, and he's like, hey, friend, you want to hang out and play some chess with us this weekend? Everybody loves to play. And he says, nah, you guys aren't good enough. I'm just going to play by myself. And he said, oh, okay, I guess. So then the next day rolls by, and they're like, hey, man, there's a sweet chess tournament coming up the next weekend. Do you want to come play? They say, nah, man, I don't want to do that. No one there is better than me. It is a waste of my time. I feel like this kind of sentiment, this kind of statement is the exact kind of person that would love to just play Anivia Harrowing. But I saw a delightful video the other day. What's his name? Magnus Carlsen is I guess the exceptionally good chess guy, and it was like he was at a party or something, and some of his friends were sitting around playing speed chess, and he was drunk, and so he just sits down, well beyond the area of tipsy, and then just takes over the speed chess game and immediately wins. I feel like if you were upset by my descriptor of the people that like to play Seraphine, you can live your life a little bit more like Magnus, and Get a little bit of value coming at you that way. You can also make claims that your opponent has a anal signaling device. Magnus also capable of calling that out. So. All right, so what do we got going on here, though? He's going to send the concussive palm, and our Nyandroid are going to be short of lethal. That's fine. Gets him to 6. The thing we have to decide now is if we want to, say, play Ruined Reckoner, and then free attack the Nyandroid, come in for 4 damage, and then have the double Mystic Shot for the kill next turn. I think that's where I stand on this. I think we're good. All right, I think it's going to work. He's going to need a strike card or a bunch of denies or something to try and get around this. Get him with the kitties. God, we should have played a lot more Nyandroid in our day. Getting the kitties out here doing battle and stuff. Yeah, well, let's block, I guess.
Stand against me.
Send a little bit of that Mystic Shot to the face. Uh-oh. Maybe we send a little bit of that Mystic Shot to the face. Got him. GG. Market a W for the kitties. Oh shit. What's happened? Okay. I lost control of my mouse pointer there. We're good. We're square. Woo. Yeah, I'm excited, man. The competitive stuff coming forward. I can't wait to see. I think this patch also has like a balance update. My understanding on the way the patches are going to come here at us shortly, and now take this with a grain of salt because I'm usually about 30% correct on the timing of patches and what's happening with the patches. I typically talk about them for like 3 or 4 videos in a row. I'm 100% wrong across every single video, and then when the patch happens, I'm just like, oh, well, here we go. Let me fix my my incorrectness rate by just repeating what's actually in the patch notes, and so. I think, there's a very high chance that I'm just straight up wrong, but I think we're supposed to get a balance patch with this upcoming one here in the next couple of days. The hack is supposed to delay things a little bit, but I think the balance patches, I don't know if it was intended to come this early, or if they were going to skip it and just do the next set, or what was going to happen, or if it was just going to be like the roadmap or whatnot. But I believe there is a balance patch and the roadmap this week, and then they're supposed to announce like the next set and the rotation and stuff, and I believe that's supposed to happen in February. It was supposed to happen in February, but with the hack and stuff, it might get delayed. But I'm excited. Even just the roadmaps are interesting and good. Get the roadmap, get all hype about it, and then open up the Reddit and see a bunch of comments like, this is shit you already said before. We can't have anything nice. Can't have anything nice. I read about this in a tweet 3 months ago. Give me something new, Riot. All right, so this spot can be kind of tough. We are going to look to Mystic Shot away this Katarina, but they can't have a variety of ways to get out of this. If you're not familiar with the interaction with Katarina and Ephemeral, if Katarina attacks or strikes, has Ephemeral, she returns to hand before the Ephemeral takes effect and kills her. And so a reasonable chance that she still gets to rally out of this. Not the end of the world if she does. We can hopefully bring forth enough aggression to where we can win before these chains of Katarina start to happen. But that's your kind of concern. Wasn't really expecting to see Sharpened Resolve. You typically see the likes of the one cost ephemeral thing, and then you might see the mites. Like those are the common ones, but Sharpened Resolve and Sharpened Resolve and ooh, Gwen, this is not going to go well for you. The one cost thing are essentially the same thing in that space. It's a little bit more mana for opponent. All right, friends, nice work though. So right, this is what we're kind of hoping now. He did get his Katarina flipped, but we're hoping he has to just, you know, if he plays Katarina and attacks for 4, we don't block, he Blades Edge our small unit. I think we can attack around that fast enough. Doesn't have the time to drop her on board now. We'll have to see. I'm not even like super interested in blocking this Phantom Butler. I know we just put the Risen Rider on board as a potential blocker, like none of our other dudes could block here, but might just want to attack around it next turn. We'll see. See if they add anything else to the board here. Vile Feast. I'm leaning towards the Ignition now. It's tough. Like we could look to go for a survival skills play, but I like the Ignition less. But I mean, we can still survival skills block this. It's not the end of the world. All right, so if we open, we're only looking at 7 damage. We're close. I mean, if we got in for 7, that would be enough for a lethal, but let's continue to add stuff to the board. I feel like we have a bit of time here. I don't want to be super all in on this attack and then give him the chance to recover. It's like Katarina would be pretty okay here if he gets to play Katarina, shoot down the Risen Rider, and then still have some blocks for the turn, but I think we're looking fine. Okay. And of course, if we want, we could just go full Poro here. I don't think I'm amped about that.
Know what rune weaving is? Want to show you something?
Right, so now he's kind of stuck. He needs to block a 6. We're coming in for 8. We have the Ignitions. Okay, we should be good now. What's he going to do? Play Katarina? Don't care. If he's going to play a Ravenous Flock onto the Ballistic Bot, kind of sucks, but not that big of a deal. I think we're strong. Sure. You gotta watch out for the Death Lotus. He's played the Katarina we haven't seen yet. Oof, almost. I wanted to discard the Ignition so we didn't just lose out on the value, and then I almost discarded our Get Excited. That's the way. That's the way games are lost. But we made it through just fine. A little bit of a whoopsies, you know. It's not beyond me. Don't feel bad if you make a little whoopsies on your own. I think we'd probably still win this game without Get Excited. It'd be close. Like he needs to play a Foyer, get an attack in, play Katarina, get the double attack in. It's still not even enough to really threaten lethal on us. Maybe you probably need like a Eternal, the 3/6, some kind of combo with the 3/6 to take this turn down. But we could even kill the 3/6 with our ballistic bots at this point. To give up. This is our first phone drop of the day. Getting a little bit of that poo water on the phone, dropping it in the toilet and stuff. Happens. It happens. All right, let's just go ahead and boom. See if we can't end it on this action. Sorry for Leap HGN. I hope you weren't at work taking a dump, trying to have a nice relaxing dumper at work. Get paired up against old FTP Bust. And you lose. You lose to the red and gold. GG. All right. Well, we like to get 8 games in. Let's get our final battle going. See if we can't achieve victory one more time. It'd be nice. Give me all the loot, so I get to go and open up the reward road again. It's been so long since I got used to having the rewards turn up. It's like a nice little treat to go and click on the to go and click on the reward road and get all those extra cards coming at you. Okay, some Leona Aphelios. I had a viewer that wants me to play some Leona Aphelios. I was thinking about doing that one today, but I didn't do it because I wanted to have the red and gold for the Chiefs. But don't worry, that's upcoming. I've been playing a lot of practice games with this deck. It's I struggle with it. This pairing of Leona with Shadow Isles for the Nightfall has kind of a bit of an identity crisis to me, in that it's it like so much of the Leona package you either need to dedicate to being in the early game, right? So you're attacking with all of the cheap Daybreak units. They have that one turn of being really good. That can lend itself to aggression, in that your opponent doesn't really want to be blocking your units. But with these kind of decks, where you're coming in with like Aphelios, it's pointing the other way, right? To where opponent's doing what just happened to us, is where we have our aggressive unit. He plays his 3/3. We can't attack into it because we just completely lose out. And so it's a nice defensive structure as well, just depending on how you piece the deck together. But it doesn't strike me as a time that's good to be playing Aphelios. In my practice with Aphelios, he's kind of at the point to where if you're looking for a mid-game power spike, everything about Leona is just better. And if you're trying to do something with a late-game kind of spike, yeah, I feel like you're just kind of much better off playing Aurelian Soul. So, kind of an awkward space. It's like, from all the things that you could be doing in this format, if you want to say be like playing Katarina Foyer, you want to be playing Aatrox Kane, if you want to be playing Feel the Rush, like all of those are all extremely powerful abilities. And like dealing 3 damage to a unit, and then stunning a unit, and then summoning a unit, and then life stealing, like that combo of stuff across like 4 and 5 and 6 turns just isn't anywhere near as powerful as the powerful things that you could be doing. And so I feel like it struggles a little bit in that sense, and finding its identity. We ran into the same issue with the Diana version. The Diana version clearly just wanted to be much more aggressive, but I felt like it was a card or two short of actually being aggressive, so it couldn't quite pull it off. But back to this one. We'll see what old Riven here can do. She's the biggest play that we can drop on the board, so that's kind of nice. Bigger than everything that could come out of the opposing deck. Does get shut down with the Sunhawk. Sad day for her, but gives us something to build up to. The opposing deck doesn't play too much removal. They tend to play like a couple of Vengeances and then a couple of Sunbursts. But Nothing to be too afraid of.
As darkness falls, the moon rises.
All right, let's see what we can do. I'm curious. I feel like the weapon that he would be choosing here is summon and not 3 damage. If we play the ballistic bot and then he just drops 3 damage onto it, that kind of sucks. I really want to generate some value out of this thing, but it doesn't make sense to me for him to be going for the damage. I think he's going to go for the board here, and so I'm fine to just go ahead and drop in the ballistic bot. The next thing that kind of worries me is I do want to get excited this Aphelios, but if he has a Pale Cascade, then this kind of sucks, especially given that he can choose to attack after this, right? So say we get excited his Aphelios, he says, I got the Pale Cascade, then it's not unreasonable to just attack Aphelios into Riven at this point, since, you know, he's got his moon weapon in hand, he's got his cycle out of the Pale Cascade, and then he just gets a good trade from there. So I feel like we got a bit of a win, just taking down the unit. Okay. This is not a really great spot for us. We're out here just like grinding, and I don't really want to just grind against Aphelios Leona, right? I mean, we're gonna drop a ignition and a blade squire and then just pass. This is dropping the poros doesn't feel like enough. We're gonna be counting a lot on Riven against a deck that has vengeances, and so I'm not hype about how this game's going.
I'm sorry, who are you?
Aphelios number 2.
Embrace the night, Aphelios.
Kind of a bummer. Now I fully suspect the 3 damage is going to come in on our ballistic bot. I think we're pretty dead at this point. We have to be drawing a Viktor like really, really fast. But to kind of like go back and talk about the Aphelios deck at this point, it kind of feels like that same space we were in against the Rise deck. Like I fully concede that we're playing against the Leona Aphelios deck and they have complete control over the board and what we're doing. But like I feel like every other version of the Leona deck would have placed them in the exact same spot. And so it's like the Aphelios just doesn't strike me as having added enough in this space. Our hand is just too garbage. This one's done. All right, well, not a bad set of battles, and so we can pull this deck up and talk about it a little bit more. It's still in like a very interesting deck in the sense that the way it's able to attack our opponents, right? And so there's a lot of decks like, say, Pantheon Varus, or there was a lot of Varus decks, like Varus Targon decks, that were quite popular at Seasonals as kind of a way to take down Aatrox Kayn. And they have this really kind of like well-protected OTK kind of attack. And that's what you can get out of this deck as well, is to where you get the Viktor on board, you load him up with like 5 or 6 augments, and then you attack, and your opponent can't do anything about it, and then you get to re-attack with the Ruined Reckoner. And I feel like those other decks just have like a little bit more consistency. Like when you get to play the cards that what is it? The cultist spell shield thing being the biggest one, is to where you've made this, kind of big investment in a unit, and you get to protect it. I feel like that's just a little bit safer. And as you look towards something like Varus, Varus very easily just shoots up to like 12 or 14 attack, doing stuff that you want to do. And it can do that in the course of like 2 turns, as to where Viktor Riven, if you're going the Viktor route, you do need like 4 and 5 turns to really pop off with him, unless you really strike on the augment quickly. But this is still a powerful strategy. It has this nice aggro edge to it. It has the burn package, not from just the Mystic Shots Get Excited, but also the Ballistic Bots. And then it has that same kind of big, overwhelming OTK style of attack that can be extremely required in some of these formats, and there's a lot of decks that just can't handle you doing that. And so, you know, it's not terrible. It's not in a bad space. It looks like it actually has a fairly interesting matchup table down here. It looks like it's actually decent against Echo Jinx and the Action Varus we were just talking about. It has a lot of really popular decks to where it looks like it has a good matchup against. I think the probable bane of this deck over the past few days, or at least in the past season, is it looks to have an extremely weak matchup against Aatrox Kayn. But, you know, powerful stuff, and it's got the Chiefs colors, so that has something something going for it as well. But that's going to do it for us today. I had fun. I hope you did too, because that is going to do it. And so I hope everyone enjoyed the video. Hope you maybe learned a thing or two along the way and had a good time watching. So this is Bust, and we thank you for being here.